Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear grade 6 students, hello again. I am Ahmed Al Farahati and I wish you all the best of everything. Today, inshallah, we will study Unit 2, The World of Food, Lesson 3. Please open your skills book to page 16. This page, we will study Activity 2. What are the aims of this lesson? Let's check. Unit 2, The World of Food, Lesson 3, Skills Book page 16, Activity 2, Class Book pages 14 and 15, Activities 1 and 2. The aims. In this lesson, students will draw times on clocks after a listening task, listen for specific information, make a list of all the foods and drinks they know. Let's go to page 16 of your skills book. Activity 2. Listen and draw. Listen to these children from the IKC talking about the time they usually have breakfast. Listen carefully and draw the times on the clocks. Now you will listen to these children from the IKC talking about the time they have breakfast. You are asked to listen carefully and draw the times on the clocks.
Tapes Group 2.3.
What time do you usually eat breakfast, Randa?
I usually eat breakfast at 6:30.
What time do you usually eat breakfast, Ben? I usually eat breakfast at about 7 o'clock.
What time do you usually eat breakfast, Tariq?
I usually eat breakfast at 6 o'clock.
What time do you usually eat breakfast, Maria?
I usually eat breakfast at 7:30. What time do you usually eat breakfast, Randa?
I usually eat breakfast at 6:30.
What time do you usually eat breakfast, Ben? I usually eat breakfast at about 7 o'clock.
What time do you usually eat breakfast, Tariq?
I usually eat breakfast at 6 o'clock.
What time do you usually eat breakfast, Maria?
I usually eat breakfast at 7:30.
Thank you. Now I'll show you the answers. Then we will listen again in order to check them. Look here. Randa usually eat breakfast at 6:30. Ben usually eat breakfast at 7 o'clock. Tariq usually eat breakfast at 6 o'clock. And Maria usually eat breakfast at 7:30. Let's listen again in order to check the answers.
What time do you usually eat breakfast, Randa?
I usually eat breakfast at 6:30.
What time do you usually eat breakfast, Ben? I usually eat breakfast at about 7 o'clock.
What time do you usually eat breakfast, Tariq?
I usually eat breakfast at 6 o'clock.
What time do you usually eat breakfast, Maria?
I usually eat breakfast at 7:30.
Now you have a question here. What time do you usually eat breakfast? You are asked here to draw the time you eat breakfast on this clock. Let's go to page 14 of your class book. Activity 1. Look, read, and listen. You have here two words: brilliant, breakfasts. Yes, breakfast is a very important meal because it gives you lots of energy to start the day. When you go to school with a good breakfast, you can study hard and play hard too. If you don't have a good breakfast, you can't study because you feel hungry all the time. Children all around the world eat different foods for breakfast. What do you usually eat for breakfast? Listen to these children from the IKC talking about the kinds of foods they usually eat for breakfast. Tick the foods you hear on the tape. This is Petra. This is Ahmed. This is Toshi. And this is Suzy. Now you are asked to listen and tick the foods you hear on the tape. Let's listen.
Tape script 2.4.
I usually have some slice of cheese and meat with some bread. Sometimes I have yogurt too. I usually drink a glass of milk with my breakfast, but sometimes I have a glass of orange juice instead.
I usually have bread and honey and a cup of tea. Sometimes if I'm hungry, I have yogurt as well.
I usually have miso soup with rice and some pickles. Sometimes I have some nori as well. That's dried seaweed. I usually drink some green tea with my breakfast.
I usually have some toast and butter and jam and a bowl of cornflakes with lots of milk on them. I always have 2 cups of tea with my breakfast. Sometimes, at the weekend, my mum makes a big cooked breakfast. If she does, I usually have egg and sausage, or sometimes I have baked beans on toast.
Thank you for listening. Now I'll take the foods we hear on the tape, then we will listen again to check our answers. Yes. Cheese, meat, bread, yogurt, milk, and orange juice. Ahmed eats bread, honey, tea, yogurt, and here Tushi eats miso soup, rice, pickles, nori, that's dried seaweed, and green tea. Suzy eats toast, butter, jam, cornflakes, milk, tea, eggs, sausage, and baked beans on toast. Let's listen in order to check our answers.
Tape script 2.5.
Cheese, meat, bread, yogurt, milk, orange juice.
Ahmed.
bread, honey, tea, yogurt,
Tushi.
Miso soup, rice, pickles, nori, that's dried seaweed, green tea.
And Sozi.
Toast,
Yes.
butter, jam, cornflakes, milk, tea, egg, sausage, baked beans on toast.
Thank you. Activity 2. Here we have a simple activity. Look and remember. Look at the foods and the drinks on the tables. Try and remember as much information as you can. Now close your books. Tell your friends what you remember. This is a memory game. You are asked to look at the foods and drinks on the tables. Try to remember as much information as you can. Then close your books and tell your friends what you remember. You can do this at home with your brothers and sisters. Here we have another task. Make a list of all the foods and drinks you know. Sort them into two groups. Countable nouns, things that we can count. Uncountable nouns, things that we can't count. You can do this on an A4 paper or in your exercise book. By this, we've achieved the aims of this lesson. Thank you for following me. Goodbye.